Hi, so welcome to this episode of History Hunters. We're in Mentryville, California. It's an old ghost town. It was an oil boom town from the time that oil was first discovered up the road in 1876 and until about 1900. It was named after Charles Alexander Mentry, the superintendent and foreman of this establishment. It was a town of about 200. We're going to go check it out and show you all about it on this History Hunters. And here at the beginning of the town is the historical marker that talks about this being named after Charles Alexander Mentry, who drilled California's first successful commercial oil well just up the road in 1876. It was one of the first oil towns in California. Mentry's restored home, barn, and Felton School remain on the site. California Star Oil Works Company, a predecessor of Standard Oil Company of California, was founded. In fact, Standard Oil was purchased by Chevron, so you can actually say that this is the birthplace of Chevron oil. So in the Plain Death episode of Highway to Heaven, was I believe the first or second season, Michael Landon and Victor French drive down this way, and in this scene you see a mailbox that is not here. It must have been just a prop, but they come around that corner. Now what they don't show you is that the town here is gated off. Obviously that was in '84, so I don't know if this gated entry was here back then. So a lot of old equipment here from the days left over from the oil operations over here. But we want to show you this. It's called the Felton School. So in the 1880s, there were a bunch of families, about 200 families that lived here. And of course, the children needed a place to be educated. This is truly a one-room schoolhouse. It was built in 1885 and actually was in operation until about June 1932, when the number of students in Pico Canyon fell below 5. That was the minimum that the state needed to justify operating a school, so they actually closed it right after that. And by 1940, there were only 2 families left. I believe this building's been kind of reconstructed over the years.
It's all closed up, you can't even see in the windows.
Now, something that was pointed out is that the outhouse for the girls has been paved with cement because their dresses would drag on the ground and they needed some protection from the dirt. But this is where the girls went to the bathroom. So here's the side of the schoolhouse, and I was going to show you that the boys had no sidewalks to go to the privy, the bathroom here. This is the original bathroom. A 2-seater. How would you like to go in there with somebody else next to you? So the schoolhouse was used in a 1929 silent film called The Last Roundup. It was directed by J.P. McGowan, and it starred a cowboy movie star by the name of Bob Custer, who was named Raymond Glenn, and he leans out of the window in this shot right here. I think everything about this building is original. Check out the old boards. Been painted many times. This was a 1st through 8th grade school. Now around here you're gonna find a bunch of old buildings that look very rustic. Probably date back to the 20s or 30s, including this old shed right here, with a modern satellite dish up here. Go see what's over here. Nothing really. This is obviously an old caretaker's house. What's it say it is?
The movie facade house built for Return to Green Acres, a made-for-television movie that aired on CBS in 1990. A faux living room lies behind the facade to provide a glimpse of the inside and block views of storage sheds. Mentryville and Pico Canyon have been the location and backdrop for numerous other television or film and television and commercial. But it hasn't been prominently featured again. So I guess it was like a one-hit wonder. Ouch. It's falling apart.
Sarah's gonna go in.
Ugh.
Well,
Watch your step. Oh. Watch your step.
well, wallpaper.
Oh. Oh, it's attached. Okay. So it's attached to that barn that you were just on the other side of.
Yeah. It's just
And
a
then
fake
this
front,
is
though.
just a facade. Yeah, that's what it said. And now there's just junk, wood, pallets, storage while it falls apart, I guess. Is that part of like a couch or something?
Well, so that's a very thin fake front masquerading behind. Looks like an original building here.
Yeah, I think it was just supposed to look like a living room from the outside.
Well, they did a good job because it sure looks old.
It is old. We forget that the 90s is now 30 years ago. I mean, well, 99 wasn't, but 1990.
And 80 was 42 years ago.
It's crazy to think of that. Come here, pup. Come here, pup.
I wonder why he's there. There's a dog
Is someone
that might
living
be
in that
stopping
house?
us, getting close to that house. I need to talk about
He
that
won't
house.
stop us.
This two-story building is the centerpiece of Mentryville. It's the 13-room Pico Cottage built in 1896 for Charles Mentry and his family. This rare photograph shows him relaxing on the porch of the home. He lived here until kidney disease forced him to leave for a Los Angeles hospital and his eventual death in October 1900. For Mentry's funeral, the entire town of Mentryville attended and brought with them a large floral arrangement made in the shape of an oil derrick. He is buried in the Evergreen Cemetery in Los Angeles. After his death, this large home was used to house the workers of the oil fields and their families. And in 1984, Michael Landon filmed a scene of Highway to Heaven right here in the Plain Death episode. In that episode, Victor French wanted to visit his old friend, and he comes up here expecting to find him, but out comes his wife thinking it's the husband. Turns out the husband has been missing for quite a while, and she's worried. She suspects some foul play, and indeed he had been killed. Had something to do with a drug deal. The actress in that film comes out here and greets Victor French.
Charlie? Charlie?
Sarah? Me, Mark Gordon.
Michael Landon's standing over here. There was a gate at the time. It's been removed, it looks like.
Look at me. Just leaving you standing around out here.
Oh, it's my friend Jonathan.
This is Don.
Oh, please. Come on in, okay? Please.
What about Charlie, is he?
I don't know.
Later, they find that Victor French's friend's car has been buried, and they tow it in from that direction over there. hard to believe that it's been almost 38 years since that scene was shot right here. I also need to point out that there was a very, very large tree right in there that they've cut down that was also here at the time that they filmed that particular TV episode. This also features prominently in that TV episode.
Charlie's car.
Found a little ways from here. Somebody buried it.
The made-for-TV movie Return to Green Acres was a cornball production that brought Henry Gibson and others to Mentryville. So the 1939 movie Days of Jesse James was shot here with Roy Rogers. He comes riding up with Trigger. The actress Pauline Moore, she's pretending to nail a for rent sign up here, and she falls off the ladder, and Roy just happens to be here to catch her.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Where did you come from?
Well, I saw you putting up that sign, so
You want to see the house? We'll come right on in.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
My name's Mary Whittaker.
So Hollywood history was made right here as well.
Just walk past him. He's fine. It's all pretty empty.
Yeah, it's been emptied out. I think they're trying to restore it. Nice little wraparound porch.
Maybe the person that watches over it lives over there.
Check out the old doors. That's pretty cool. You can tell they're old.
They put windows in them. Is that something that they came that way?
I wonder if they are original. A lot of people stayed here and lived here. Oh, Sarah found a trap door.
No, it doesn't open.
Doesn't? I think Charles Mentry lived here right after he built this house in 1896, and then he passed away in 1900, so he didn't get to live here very long. After that, it became housing for the people who worked the oil fields up here. Pico Canyon was one of the most productive wells in California. Mentry used what may have been California's first steam-powered oil rig to drill the celebrated fourth well. On September 26, 1876, Pico No. 4 started pumping out oil, and it continued to pump oil for over 100 years. It was the first commercially successful oil well in the western half of the United States.
You can see into the kitchen pantry right here. The shelves and stuff, and you can see the linoleum on the ground. Was linoleum a thing back then?
Yeah, it was. Here's a side view of the Pico Cottage. It doesn't look like a cottage to me, though. It looks like a full-blown mansion.
You could go around the back and see in the back window into the kitchen.
Tom Mix actually filmed a movie here, Mentryville, called The Outlaws of Red River, 1927. Steven Spielberg also filmed part of The Color Purple here as well. Walking Tall Part 2 and the TV series X-Files and the A-Team were shot here as well. It always blows my mind when I can stand in a location where such Western legend as Roy Rogers filmed a movie, so that's pretty cool. I wish they'd left the gate here. I think I just found the gate over here. It's probably not an original gate. So this tin shed, I believe, was built in the 1930s.
It's a chicken coop.
We have a chicken coop. Looks like an impromptu chicken coop. No chickens here, though.
No chickens, but I think maybe one time there was chickens in there.
I believe this was built in the 1890s, I believe I heard. It's got a cupola at the top.
Just a bunch of junk.
Okay, here we go. This tells you what this is.
It's a barn
Mentry's
and chicken coop.
Mentryville's barn and chicken coop were built in the 1890s to house the mules, horses, and chickens that were critical to the oil fields operation.
So this was a actual town turned movie set. So this was here originally, and that other one was added for just a TV show.
Right.
I understand.
Yeah, this was a town of about 200 people back in 1876 is when it all started, and they needed this barn. Of course, the mules and the horses were put to work around here. They helped to transport the oil wagons to Newhall. In fact, they hauled in barrels of clean drinking water from a nearby canyon before pipelines were established to support the town. Yeah, I guess because after they abandoned this place, this was a convenient place to film some movies. I think Tom Mix filmed a movie here in the 1920s.
That saddle would make for a rough ride, huh? They put metal and wood in saddles?
I didn't
Or
know
is
that. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
So the original well site is about, I believe, 11 minutes up the road if we wanted to go up there, but it was capped off in 1990, so. I think we've decided we're gonna walk up here a ways, about a mile, and see the original well site where they first drilled oil and had a successful well here in California. It's a nicely paved trail all the way to the well site. And up here on the right, you see a bunch of, well, 2 tanks, no doubt affiliated with oil production. Maybe it's a water tank. I'm assuming it's a water tank though. So we stopped 3 people who were coming in from this direction and asked them how far the well site is, and it's going to be a lot farther than we thought, so we're probably not going to make it. I'll show you some pictures of the way it looked. However, the discovery of oil in California occurred up this canyon here. And again, like I said, we're not going to go the entire way. It's just too far, and we've got other things to shoot today, but this kind of shows you the terrain that they had to enter to come up here to drill for that well. September 26, 1876 is when they discovered oil here in California.
The bird circling above.
It's very beautiful this time of year. It's February.
Nice.
It's
Warm.
very windy.
Breezy.
I saw some comments on one of our videos, and they were asking about Santa Ana, what the Santa Ana winds were. Well,
They're not from Santa Ana.
they blow into California from the ocean, and they really cause a lot of problems when there's fires. I just noticed this pipe possibly ran oil down to Mentryville. I'm assuming, because it comes from that direction. Over there where the wells were drilled. Follows this road all the way down to Mentryville. So a little past this parking lot, I spotted something. It's a foundation to an old building. I want to check it out. Nope, it's not a foundation. It's a piece of equipment. Looked like a foundation from a distance. I think I need to check out my eyesight. Mentryville also has a fascinating history in that a UFO actually landed here. Well, not really. It was done for a TV movie in 1990. Richard Mulligan, Beau Bridges, and Barbara Bari came to Mentryville for the filming of an NBC-TV movie called UFO Cafe, otherwise known as Guess Who's Coming to Christmas. The Visitors Center parking lot is where many of the scenes were filmed, and this is precisely where the UFO landed in the movie. During the 1930s, most of the remaining residents of Mentryville left, many tearing down their houses board by board and nail by nail and taking it all with them. By 1962, Mentryville had become a ghost town, with only a caretaker family living in Mentry's old 13-room house. The last caretaker of Mentryville was Francis "Frenchy" Lagasse, who moved into the old mansion with his wife and children in 1966. The property's owner, Standard Oil of California, wanted to raise the remnants of the old ghost town, but Lagasse persuaded the company to allow him to restore the town. Lagasse eventually began offering tours of Mentryville, but was forced to leave after the 1994 Northridge earthquake damaged the house. In 1995, Chevron, which had become the owner upon its acquisition of Standard Oil of California in 1977, donated the town site and the surrounding 800 acres in Pico Canyon to the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy. So I think that's going to wrap up our visit here to Mentry. If you happen to be the viewer who mentioned that we should visit Mentryville, I want to thank you because I didn't know anything about it, and it was kind of interesting. A little bit of oil history here in California. You don't think about California being an oil state, but on the way up here we saw a lot of oil wells and a lot of oil operations and tanks. The Pico Hills here, I understand, are just full of oil, or were at the time. That's why they got rid of this facility. They just tapped it out. Thank you so much for traveling with us here to Mentryville. Please give us a thumbs up and a like, and leave a comment if you can. Thank you so much.